Hey y'all, I'm back. So just when I went out to mind my good business and go to the gym, I was scrolling real quick and I said, "Now what is this?" And I said, "Oh, I wanted to come and talk to y'all about it." So we know I just told, and plus I'm getting ready to do the OC review later. So we know that on the Real Housewives of OC, the cast is upset with Katie. There are a lot of people that I have seen online. There's conversation. Let me take that back. I won't say a lot. There is conversation online I see happening. People feel like, excuse me, people are that the cast is targeting Katie because she does not look like them. I can't say for one way or the other if that's the truth because I don't know those ladies. I will say, from my perspective, watching it, I feel like it's because she has reached out to bloggers and different things like that. And probably all of them have done it, right? They are coming at Katie for it. And it seems that all of them now have an issue with Katie. Almost all of them, except for Jen, her and Jen. So far, what we're watching on the show, right? So far, they're good friends. And she seems friends with, yeah, she's friends with Gretchen as well, right? Because this past week we saw her and Shannon have a blow up. So there's been a lot of discussion about them ganging up on Katie and the reason they're ganging up on Katie. Now, I'm going to say this, just because I don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And I don't want to be one of those people that's telling a community something is happening. I mean, something is not happening that they feel is happening. I can't stand when I am talking about things that I recognize as living my life as a black woman, being a black woman, right? Being in a lot of non-black spaces and recognizing different things and picking up on different things. When I watch these housewives, I can't stand when somebody non-black comes to tell me, "Girl, that ain't what it is. You don't know." Or when they say, sometimes people say, "Oh no, I didn't pick up on that," as if they should, because in their minds, they're just so used to the world being modeled around them that this couldn't be happening because I didn't pick up on it, right? So I can't stand when non-black folks watching these shows try to tell me what they didn't pick up on in that manner. Now, if they say, "Oh wow, I didn't pick up on that. Would you mind explaining to me so that I'm aware?" I'm cool with that, right? But don't come try to tell me what you did and didn't pick up on as if because you didn't pick up on it, it didn't happen when you're not used to those things happening, right? And I always find that when it comes to when you insert the word man and woman in these conversations, people don't have a problem with it. So somebody says that's misogyny. The way they act around women, they hate women, they look down on women. Other women rallying right behind them. Yeah, I know what that feels like. Da 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 da. If a man were to dare come in and say, "Well, I don't see it that way," they would snap his head off, right? Because what? You're not a woman. But when you take out the word woman, even when people say throw like a girl, catch like the girl, that whole movement, right? People don't have an issue with that. Take out the word man or woman and replace it with black or put black in front of it. All of a sudden, people got a problem. Why does it got to be about that? You say black women suffer this. It's always, why does it got to be about that? From people that don't look like the people that we're talking about, right? I just think it's funny how people don't have a problem with it until you bring black, white, non-black, non-white into it, right? So I say all that to preface with this video that I am about to do. So Katie was on page 6. Before I do that, actually, I'm gonna let y'all see this video. I saw this video posted on IG. I was scrolling, and you know how stuff comes up and you're suggested for you. I saw it, but I didn't click on it. The video is now down. It was posted by either Jen or Gretchen, Jen from OC or Gretchen or both. I'm not really sure. It's now gone, but you post it on the internet. They say it stays on there forever, right? So I want you to look at this video. I got the video from a TikTok user. So I'm going to show you the video. and then we're going to get into some conversation about it. Before I do that, child, YouTube, you won't get me because there's a little bit of music in the background. So let's put this up. Copyright disclaimer under section, wait a minute, let me make it big. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Y'all, what are we doing? I'm showing you this video for the purpose of commenting and reporting. Okay. All right. Let's exit on out of that. Let's get into this video. Okay, so Jen posted it on her. Y'all know I had a problem with this before. I'm gonna get it together, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, here we go. I just had it. I want to scream. Why does this keep happening to me, y'all? I don't be meaning to do. Here we go. Oh, y'all. Just had the video. Oh, here it is. Okay.
We have to talk about this video of Jen and Gretchen that Jen posted and has taken down, but I was able to get my hands on it. I think it speaks for itself, but just pay attention to Gretchen.
I'm back on Housewives. We're ready to defend ourselves. Yeah!
So yeah, that is a video clip that has since been deleted. It is very disrespectful, very distasteful. It's not funny. There's no comedy in it. I see no punch.
Y'all, I'm sorry if the volume is low. It looks like it's low on their end, but I'm going to go back and play the beginning of the video for you just so you can see it.
Y'all, we have to talk about this video of Jen and Gretchen that Jen posted and has taken down, but I was able to get my hands on it. I think it speaks for itself, but just pay attention to Gretchen.
I'm back on Housewives. We're ready to defend ourselves. Yeah!
So yeah, that is a video clip that has since been deleted.
Now, this creator, Emily Rose Schaefer, says, what's going on at Bravo? Problematic and racist behavior on RHOC. I'm gonna play out the rest of our video. It's not that much longer.
Very disrespectful, very distasteful. It's not funny. There's no comedy in it. I see no punchline. And it just reminds me of Brandy from The Real Housewives of Dallas and the video that she made, and we all know how that turned out. I know a lot of content creators that talk about reality TV and Bravo love to say that it's not that deep, but this is where I counter that it really is. We know that living in Trump's America with MAGA running amok, that ignorant stuff like this is kind of free to be normalized and even flourish. And may I remind anybody that is confused, none of this is acceptable, none of this is okay, and you need to knock it off. I've made a lot of content speaking to this similar issue across different Bravo shows that are currently airing, so make sure you go check those out to see the bigger picture that I'm talking about. This year alone, I've counted 6 shows where the person of color is being painted as the antagonist or as far as the villain, and I just find that to be a very, very, very strange coincidence. I really hope that Bravo and Andy address this. This is not the time to be leaning into ignorance, and we cannot be enabling this behavior. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And even if Jen and Gretchen aren't friends with Katie anymore, they owe her a massive apology for making this video, let alone posting it. Y'all, we have to talk about this. There are 5 things to consider.
So you heard what was being, let me stop the share for a second. So you heard what was going on in the back, right? So there was Asian music, like for movie. I don't know if am I using the right term, Asian music, but music that you would see in Asian movies and things like that. And then we hear the what are these things called in karate when you do them? We hear the sounds that you would hear, like if you're watching like a Bruce Lee movie or a Jet Li movie or something like that, right? So let me get into, so people were saying that Gretchen was squinting her eyes, making Asian faces and Asian noises because we heard the noises that were being made in the background. So let's go on over to page 6. And let's listen to Katie. She was on their podcast, Virtual Reality. Let's get into that. Hold on. Technology is great when you know how to use it. Here we go. All right.
We were talking a little bit before. It is kind of, I'm sure, comforting to know, even though your cast is not that supportive of you right now, a lot of social media is.
Yeah.
And I feel that maybe almost was a shock to some of
Me?
the cast, or to you. I'm sure everyone's
Me?
like, wait, what is happening now?
I know.
How is that feeling? And do you think that could maybe make any of the ladies, or have they reached out to you at all in any sense?
I'm very grateful for it. I have gotten one text message, well, two actually, from some ladies that recently posted a video that is very inappropriate. And I got a message with warm regards, and it's very odd to me.
One of your castmates posted a video on Inappropriate?
Yes, there's a very inappropriate video going around where two girls are pretending to fight, squinting their eyes and making Asian faces to Asian sounds.
Oh.
And it's very hurtful and very inappropriate, and it's 2025, and I think we should read the room.
Okay.
God.
I have not seen
I've
this
not seen that
video.
either.
It was quickly taken down. It was up for a few hours, but
Wow.
yeah.
And you had to reach out to them to be like, what the hell is this?
I did not know.
Oh, they did. Okay. Oh my
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
I am so
that
sorry.
Well,
even
you know,
had to see
I
that.
feel like throughout the season, it's brought me back to feeling like how I felt growing up a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the only, right? I'm the
Right.
very first Asian American on Orange County. I'm the very first Korean adoptee. And so being singled out from this cast, it's all too familiar, all the feelings.
Now, I am going to say this. I get it, because there's a lot of us, right, that have been the onlys walking into a room, being in a room, working. I was looking at the actions that she took as far as reaching out to bloggers, right? Again, having conversation, all of that stuff. And I had said in the beginning of the season, y'all remember, I didn't think it was a gang up when they were all asking her, like, at the table. Because sometimes if you are in a group of people and you are the common denominator as far as doing something to all of them, right? Reaching out to bloggers, let's just say. For me, sometimes having the other people, if I say, now, this wasn't cool what you did to me, and you've done it to 3 other people, that establishes a pattern of behavior that's not cool. I think it's okay to have that conversations. It's the way you go about it that can make it seem like a gang up or a pile-on. I don't like this notion sometimes of it always being a gang up or a pile-on if you did it. If you did it, we're allowed to call you out on it. And it doesn't have to be separately. But again, it's the way that the people go about it, right? I don't have a problem with that. Not at all. And then it goes back to, right, I guess, who you like and who you don't like. From Real Housewives of Potomac, when all the ladies were coming at Candace for her responses, because y'all know I like to say you can't dictate somebody's response. People didn't call it a gang up. Why? Because they didn't like her. I have a suspicion if all the women that were confronted Katie turned around and confronted Tamara the same way all at one time, I have a funny feeling people wouldn't look at that as a gang up. Because it's Tamara, right? So you also have to look at it like that. I try to be unbiased. It doesn't always work. And I think that we as creators should be honest when we recognize it and be like, dang, and I was being a little bit biased, because we're human. So everybody's a little bit biased in certain things, right? I try not to be, but everybody is. So I can be honest and say, I didn't care for Katie when she came last season. I do think she's absolutely gorgeous. I'll say that. I didn't care for Katie last season because of the way that she came in. And it was like, come on, girl, let us see you. I don't want to see this beef about this storyline about Heather and paparazzi, right? I do believe she was led down that way, though. I don't believe she just thought of it herself. I believe Gina led her down that path and then kind of left her out to dry a little bit. And then again, I have to mention it. Her calling the police on a man and lying on him. Right? And I mention this a lot because these are the reasons that I didn't really care for her. Although it didn't happen on Housewives, that happened in real life, which to me is like, I've said before, an indication of your character. For you to call the cops on this man and lie and say he blocked you in a driveway when it was you that was the aggressor, right? But now we're here, and I can't discount her feelings about this. I'm going to be straight up honest and say I did wonder if, I don't even want to do that actually, because when she said in this interview that she was triggered because she's often grown up being the only in her area, I mean, in her space, and now these ladies doing this and singling her out in the season. There was at first there was a part of me that was like, is she using this video to be like, see, they are singling me out and ganging up on me because I look different, and not because you did in fact do the things they accuse you of doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to be honest. That was my first thought. Is that why? I mean, is she using this video to kind of take the attention off of the why all the ladies, or most of the ladies, have an issue with you? And because it could almost lead you down the path of thinking, oh, well, we know they have an issue with her because she looks different. Again, I'm not going to say that's not the reason, because I'm not her and I'm not a part of that community, right? Because it could very well be, and they could be using the blogger thing, because we know that they've all contacted them. They're still friends with Tamara. Is herself one now, pretty much. Has a podcast about this stuff. So why is nobody getting on her? You know what I'm saying? So that could be the reason that they're all coming at her this way, and they're just using the things she's done to do it and disguising it as that. I don't know. But I want to know what y'all think about this. Watching the video, I was like, really? I don't know. Why are these discussions even? It's like from Love Island to these housewife shows. Now, granted, let's be clear. For those of us that are not white, we've probably had these discussions at our kitchen tables after watching the Housewives, right? We've seen it when we watched New York, the original cast. We knew who we were watching. We weren't in an uproar. And I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with you. It wasn't black folks and non-black folks when 2020 came and the Bravo reckoning. It wasn't us that was screaming at the top of our lungs to do right, do better. It was a lot of white folks. And sometimes it was to appease the guilt that they felt. Because notice, it was 2020 during the time when we were home. Everything was happening with George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement, and that slowly, the conversations, people don't want to have those conversations anymore. It was the thing to do then, right? We, again, non-white folks knew what we were watching when we were watching Ramona. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, even Sonia, all of them, we knew what we were watching then. But as a person who was not white, when we watch these TV shows, we often know what we're watching. We know how to compartmentalize and say, I'm going to look at this, but I know blah, 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 blah. So when all that stuff started happening with the Bravo, not reckoning, that was a Bethany, but the Bravo, a movement, not a moment, when all that happened, when that moment happened a while ago, we weren't the ones out screaming, rattling chains, doing this and expecting things to move and shake. It was actually white folks. You know what I'm saying? That were doing that. So I think when we see these things come up, unfortunately, sometimes, I know for me as a black woman, I do feel like sometimes I can be a bit desensitized, because when you live with it in your everyday life, I used to work in a white corporate America, you know? So sometimes you almost feel like, am I desensitized when this stuff comes? We clock it, but it's just like, girl, moving on, you know? So I don't know, but what do y'all think? I think Katie has a right to feel exactly how she feels. She's valid in her feelings, whether people like her, dislike her, or not. And it's not for me to say it's not for me to say that that's not what's happening. These women aren't targeting her because of that. Because the truth is, I don't know none of these women, right? I can also understand, even if that wasn't the case, even if it, honestly, if we found out that it had nothing to do, like none of these people looked at her any different, or targeted her because she's different from them, I can still understand how Katie may be triggered. An incident can happen that can bring up an emotion that you felt, even though it was in a different situation. You ever had something happen to you and it triggers an emotion that you felt in a totally different situation, but it took you right back there, you know? So I can understand Katie feeling that way also. I'm just trying to look at it like if I was her, if I was, or even as a Black woman being in those spots before, right? So I don't know. Let me stop rambling. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I wonder if this is going to be addressed at the reunion. I guess we shall see. Love y'all. Talk to you later. See ya.